San Francisco with our guest R.J. Muna, widely recognized as an innovative, multifaceted, and creative photographer. He's won over 150 awards, including the International Center of Photography's Infinity Award and the Lucie Award for the Best Commercial Photographer. R.J., thanks for inviting us to your studio.
My pleasure.
Okay, so can you tell us about your style of photography and the type of work you love to do?
Well, I've been shooting dance for the last 15 years or so, and a lot of commercial work between cars and all kinds of different things. So I would say that if there's a particular thread through all of it between cars and dance, I try to add some sort of a conceptual underpinning to everything I do. I come in with an idea rather than just what does this look like.
And what would you say your biggest passion is in terms of photography?
Well, right now, these days, I mean, certainly is in the dance world. I've been doing that for so long, and I'm getting quite used to it at this point, and shooting some video as well as a lot of stills. But, you know, there's nothing more exciting than watching a human body in motion.
Now, can you tell us some of the key things that you use every time you pick up a camera, or even before you pick up a camera going into a shoot?
Well, I would say quite a bit before I pick up a camera, I sit down and really think about what I'm trying to say. So the equipment isn't as important to me as what it is I'm trying to say, and that's what drives the equipment after that. The gear and the lighting and everything else has more to do with the shot and where I'm going to be and how I'm going to be shooting it and why I'm going to be shooting it. It has a lot more to do with what I pick up.
And in terms of lighting, what are some tips for getting really natural lighting?
Well, I mean, there's nothing more natural than outdoor, but in the studio, we really try pretty much not for natural lighting. It's not, we're looking for something slightly, I wouldn't say surrealistic, but we want it to look a little fantastic, I would say, a little sparkly and something you couldn't see with your eye for the most part.
And how do you do that?
I always start with one light, one main light, and decide where that main light is coming from, whether it's overhead or from the side or any of that. And then from that point on, I fill in all of the blanks with key lights and edge lights and things like that to decide if this contour isn't showing quite well, I'll put a light there. But I always start with one main light and then build from that point.
Composition, any tips for great composition?
You know, again, that goes back to the basic concept. I mean, if you're shooting something really dark and moody, it might have a different composition, whereas if everything is wide open and white background and sort of a very open lighting, the composition is really determined by the concept that we start with.
Now, what would people be surprised to learn about you as a photographer?
I would say it's just a matter of how much I think about things before we start shooting. I think a lot of what I shoot may seem like it comes relatively easily and relatively off the cuff, but I really do think about what I'm trying to do and how to light it. I ask a lot of questions.
R.J., tell me about shooting dance from a technical standpoint.
Well, clearly you need to stop motion. You need to get the movement of the dancers, especially when they're leaping or doing quick, sharp movements. You need to get them frozen in space, and a strobe is the way to do that. There's also something about a dance shoot where you allow the dancers to come in. Dancers are people, they have individual personalities. And so when they start to move, you pick up on what they're doing, and you begin to see each dancer's way of moving and trying to get that specifically on film.
Any final advice for viewers who want to take better shots?
You know, just take as many as you can. Take as many as you can, look at them hard, think about them, do your research, and just shoot a lot. These days of digital, it allows you to shoot a lot. It allows you to try a lot of experimentation. Set up your shoots and then leave a little room for flexibility, leave a little room for that magic to show up. And beyond that, just be aware, be there.
Speaking of magic, so what would you say gives that little magical element? What have you noticed in your own shots?
I always try to do something that has a slightly off-balance point of view with what you might expect. I try to change it just a little bit from what you might expect. I don't know quite how to define that, because it's that little thing that happens, or you look at it and you say, that's a little different. That's just off normal. So that's generally what I try to pick up.
RJ, thanks for joining us and for giving us an inside look into your world of photography.
Sure, thank you.
Be sure to subscribe now to stay updated on my show, and we'll give you tips and insight to keep advancing your photography. Also, check out our guests' website for a closer look at their work. Tune in to our next episode of Advancing Your Photography for an inside look at another photographer's world. Until then, this is Marc Silber reminding you to get out and capture your own images of life.